I wanted to get into one of my favorite people, because he recently released a video, and I think that he is one of the most uh, entertaining and insightful people that we have on the internet today. Before we get into the money, because I want to get into colleges, I want to get into how many closures, I want to get into why it's important for you to go to college, or if you shouldn't go to college, should you start a business and all of that. Before we get into the money, I want to get into the materialism, because Dr. Umar Johnson dropped a video and said materialism will be the end of us. Do you agree or disagree? Make sure you hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications. If you have not already, make sure that you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. And then also, make sure that you send me an email, antondaniels413@gmail.com, if you see a story that you want me to highlight, especially if it comes back to the money or react to. Let's go ahead and get into this live stream that Dr. Umar Johnson dropped.
Gangster rappers, they don't live a happy life. Have you seen some of these Negroes off the stage? They are the nastiest, most disrespectful, most fear-based, most anger-based Negroes you will meet in your life, because spirit doesn't function off of image and merchandise.
Let me be the first to say, as a person that regularly it would seem as though I disagree with Dr. Umar Johnson a lot, but I agree with a lot of the things that he's saying. And he is absolutely right. The start of this video, in which he highlights how some of the people that we look up to the most, which is one of the reasons why I say that black culture is trash, or the things that we celebrate the most about it. He used gangster rappers, and he said that a lot of these guys, even though they project themselves to be happy, even though they out here with all of the chains and stuff like that, they are not happy. And the spirit that comes along with them is also a spirit that shows that they're living in a space to where they're projecting themselves to be happy, but the materialism cannot substitute for a lack of character and substance that they then show and give to us that actually ruins our community. I think that Umar Johnson is 100% right on the money when it comes to his breakdown of this and starting this live stream. In the same way that we criticize, in the same way where we say, yo, somebody might be wrong or we don't agree with them, we also got to give them the credit when we agree with them and when we think that they're right. He is 100% correct. Shout out to Bitcoin Brown. I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly. Dr. Umar Johnson is 100% correct with the start of this video when he said that these gangster rappers are not happy and the things that they projecting is toxic for us, and you can tell because spirits are real. He's 100% right.
This is why when you out here dating, mating, and cohabitating, hopefully no snow bunny. Got too many black women walking
He had to throw that snow bunnies in there, didn't he?
around with hostile personality disorder. We have too many black men walking around with hostile personality disorder. We have too many youth walking around with hostile personality disorder. We have too many elders walking around with hostile personality disorder. We have a crisis of hypertension in the black community. Too many of us are perishing from stroke, heart attack, and other illness because we are trapping and carrying too much stress inside of our bodies. We are trapping and carrying too much stress inside of our bodies.
Before I continue with this, because I have not seen this video yet, you guys send me a lot of the Dr. Umar Johnson stuff y'all send me. I'm like, it's nothing there. It's nothing new. I don't necessarily want to react to it. Y'all send me this video when y'all talked about, with him talking about materialism, which, I like it when it comes back down to the money. And he's saying that a lot of people are walking around with too much stress. Before I deep dive into the video even more to hear the context behind it, because I want to hear the context behind it. Shout out to Azriel. I'm going to be reading that super chat in a minute. Before I deep dive to find out the context behind it, because first, I don't think that it's only singular. Whatever it is that he attaches, what I found is that it's not singular to just black people, okay? So you have to step outside of just what it is that you see. I know that he only refers to black people, but I would attach this to everybody, A. But the question that I have, B, before I start to get into the context is it more or less stressful today than it's ever been? That's the question that I want to ask myself as I'm listening to this conversation. Is it more or less stressful than yesteryear? And we can go back 10 years, we can go back 20 years, we can go back 30 years, we can go back 50 years, we can go back 100 years. I would say that we live in a time in which it's the least stressful than it's ever been. I think that we're bombarded with a narrative that, especially with regard to social media, and no matter what time that you live in, we're always going to be the biggest victims. I'm trying to understand how we look at today and say in any way, shape, or form, and I know he didn't say this, I'm just asking this question, that it's stress. I would say it's the food. I would say it's the culture. I would say it's social media. I would attach it to a lot of other things, but I would not actually attach it to the lifestyle that we have the option to live versus the lifestyle of yesteryear. But let me hear the context of what it is that he's saying.
No doubt, some of this stress is ancestral. It is in our DNA. We brought it with us when we incarnated. We brought it with us into this human dimension when we incarnated. Some of the stress is ancestral, but a lot of the stress is self-inflicted because we are not processing our experiences under white supremacy correctly and positively.
I really, that bothers me. And again, this is my first time hearing it. And it bothers me because the minute that you stop becoming a victim and stop blaming another system or somebody else, somebody tell me, I'm curious. Somebody tell me. And I asked my dog Jack Talcott. Jack was on the show on Friday. Somebody tell me and show me a system that is better. I asked that black woman that we was talking to in front of the ice cream parlor yesterday because she was trying to say the same stuff, ironically. I asked her, I said, what system is actually better or more productive than what it is that we have here in the United States of America? Capitalism, the system that we have right now, this democracy or whatever it is that's being pushed on us as an agenda, is absolutely not perfect. But what other system is actually more productive and better? And why is so many people actually looking to come here instead of more people are looking to leave the United States of America? That's what I'm curious about. If it's so bad here, why are more people trying to get in here than ever before? I mean, over the last 10, 15, 20 years, one of the biggest sticking points of our presidential elections has been, shout out to Aaron, I'm reading that super chat shortly. One of the biggest sticking points of our presidential election has been border security. Why aren't we closing off our borders? Why is anybody able to come in here? Dr. Umar Johnson himself, just last week, Friday, I believe, or Thursday from last week, just was having a conversation about the migrant crisis that's happening over in New York and Chicago. He was just having a conversation about the migrant crisis over in New York and Chicago, right? What I'm asking you is, even though I don't think that any system would ever be perfect, but what system is better than the system that we have here? That's what I'm asking. Let me continue to hear what he got to say.
Stress will kill you if you don't know how to handle it. Stress will cause disease if you don't know how to handle it. Yes, we need to change our diet. Yes, we need to exercise, but I'm not talking
And when
about
I say system, I'm not talking about a theory. I'm talking about something that's put into place in a different country, in a different nation, somewhere else where it's more productive. Is it dictatorships? Is it what's happening over in the UK? Is it what's happening over in Africa? Is it complete chaos in Haiti? Is it what's happening in China? Is it what's going on in Russia? Is it what's happening in Switzerland? Somebody help me to understand this system that's so productive that we're seeking this utopia that's better than what it is that we have as far as the freedom of choice over here in America.
diet right now. I'm going to leave that to the dietitians. I'm not talking about exercise right now. I'm going to leave that to the professional trainers. I'm dealing with my expertise. I'm dealing with the psychological costs of stress. I'm dealing with the psychological costs of stress. We are literally destroying ourselves because we are walking around hostile. Too many hostile Africans in the black community. Too many hostile Africans in the black community.
The source of the stress, I think that I disagree a little bit with Dr. Umar Johnson as far as the system. I agree with him 100% in which he's saying that it's too many people. And again, I don't think that it's singularly extracted just from black people. Everybody is hostile. Everybody is wound up. Everybody is willing to shoot it out. Everybody is beefing as soon as you tap on them, and everybody is angry when it comes to everything that you bring up. It don't matter what it is that you bring up. There are people that are angry, just they wake up angry. I 100% agree with what Dr. Umar Johnson is saying as far as the culture by which we live in. It's hate, it's angry. For the longest, the word haters has been a thing. Everybody is hostile. Everybody is pissed. People get pissed when you too happy. They be like, "Who you think you are? Why you think you better than us? Why you not pissed like us?" And then some of y'all give in to the mob culture and you say, "Yeah, I'm pissed too." You don't even really want to be pissed. And then you lie to yourself, and you lie to yourself long enough to actually start to get pissed because you start believing in a lie.
You have to learn one of the most important things you can do in your life. One of the most important things you can do in your life is know what to worry about and know what to leave to the most.
So it's 1,500 people in here. 1,500 plus people in here, and the likes is anemic. Please don't make me play a Teach Hanley commercial again. You know I got more than one Teach Hanley commercial. I will stop mid-show and play the Teach Hanley commercial. Can you guys please get the likes up? Please? Thanks.
High. One of the most important decisions you can make is know your spiritual wisdom. This is why you must develop spiritual wisdom and intuition. Knowing what to worry about and what not to worry about is the difference between life and death. Worry will kill you. Worry will kill you. Anger will kill you.
Facts.
Anger will kill you. Our young children killing each other in the streets, filled with
I see you, R Streets. Absolutely. These dudes be on 10.
anger. You know why? The basis of anger is fear. The basis of anger is fear.
Let me sit on that for a minute. It's not always good to react immediately. Sometimes you have to consume, you have to take in what somebody is saying, and you have to start to try to digest it a little bit. You try to look for the understanding. He said the basis of anger is fear. The basis of anger is fear. That's what he said. Do you think that that's true? The basis of anger is fear. Is that the only thing that generates anger? Is fear?
I don't think it's the only thing.
Well, let me hear the rest of the context.
Whenever you are angry, there is a seed of fear within you regarding that situation. Whenever you are angry, there is a seed of fear within you. Whenever you are angry, there is a seed of fear that is provoking the anger. You are angry because you are afraid. You are angry because you are afraid. You are angry because you are afraid. Afraid of what? Losing something. Afraid of what? Death to your reputation. Death to your relationship. You are afraid of losing your job, afraid of being embarrassed, afraid of being exposed, so you get angry. Anger is how you weaponize your fear. Anger is the weaponization of fear.
I don't know if he's wrong. I don't know if he's completely right either. Because if you think about it, he's saying that fear is the thing that have you weaponizing anger, right? But I can't say that he's entirely right either. I got angry this weekend because I can't exhibit the same behavior that I wanted to exhibit 10 years ago when somebody pissed me off. Rita had to pray for me. I said, man, if this was 10, 20 years ago,
Don't say too much.
you said what? Don't say too much.
No.
If this was 10, 20, I ain't gonna say it. I would never put myself in that position, especially on a live stream. I said, if this is 10, 20 years ago, it would be different. It would just be a completely different situation. But I don't know if I was entirely angry more than I was just like evaluating my options of how it is that I should handle a particular situation. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I can't say that that's entirely right. I can't. I'm not saying that he's wrong, but I guess it's just something more to ponder over.
What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? And let me say this to you. Your ego is always afraid of something because your ego operates. Your ego operates in the realm of success and failure. All your ego knows is success and failure. Your ego don't know anything else. So if you are an ego-based African, if you are a narcissistic, ego-based African, if your whole life is about what you own and how you appear to other people, I know you deal with a lot of anger, a lot of fear, a lot of frustration, a lot of rage. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. That's not a healthy life. Our gangster rappers, they don't live a healthy life. Our gangster rappers, they don't live a happy life. Have you seen some of these Negroes off the stage? Have you seen some of these Negroes off the stage?
Dr. Umar Johnson, let me tell you why he's so good at what he does. I don't think that, I think in the context in which he's using it, he's right, right? Because again, the beginning of this live stream, he referenced gangster rappers in order to substantiate his argument, right? But the other side of the conversation is when you take it outside of that, you using it when it comes to corporate America, you could be angry because somebody stole from you for your business. For example, let's just say, for example, you hire somebody and you give them a chance and then they steal from you. I don't fear anything as a result of that, but I'm pissed at the fact that you stole from me because I had trusted you and I tried to give you a chance and then you turned your back on me. You see what I'm saying? So that's why the Bible says, be angry, but sin not. Be angry, but sin not, because you don't want to let your emotions control you to then make a decision that you would regret long term. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be angry. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't experience that emotion of anger. And I don't think that that comes from fear. I think it comes from a lot of different things depending on the context by which you're using it. But what makes Umar Johnson so good at what he does is because I think that he's using it in the context of what it is that we embrace and look up to from a cultural norm perspective. So, for example, if we only looking up to basketball wives, the chicks looking up to basketball wives and chicks for the streets, and then everybody else is looking up to these gangster rappers in order to reference them to justify how it is that they live their life. In that context, it's true because they then hide who they truly are by dousing themselves with stuff, right? You're dousing yourself with the chains, you got the ice on, and you get all of the cars, and you say you got all of these women around you. But as we see what's happening with people like the Zion Williamsons and the Paul Pierces and all of those other type of people, it doesn't fix who you truly are on the inside, and so you still walking around with that anger. The problem is just that, and the John Morant's for that sake. But the problem is that you don't truly fix who you are. It's just coming out in a different way. That's probably even worse because now you influencing other people trying to act like you are better as a result of the money, but the money just made you more of what you already are. So I agree with him, right? I agree with him in that the reference point that he's using in order to justify his argument is correct. And he's using these gangster rappers in order to justify his argument. But let's continue to see what he has to say.
They are the nastiest, most disrespectful, most fear-based, most anger-based Negroes you will meet in your life, because spirit doesn't function off of image and merchandise. Spirit doesn't function off of image and merchandise. This is why when you out here dating, mating, and cohabitating, hopefully no snow bunnying. When you out here dating, mating, and cohabitating, you
You even bust out laughing when he said it. What he say? The girls are snow bunnies and the guys is what? Snow something. He said the guys was what? Somebody in the chat tell me what he said the guys are. The women is snow bunnies and the guys is I forgot what he said. Snow something. Somebody in the chat hopefully will tell me. Let's continue.
got to do an assessment. How materialistic is this person? Because I don't care how much Jesus they claim. I don't care how much Muhammad they claim. If they are caught up in how they look beyond what is acceptable, if they are overly attached to their public image, if they are overly attached to what they own and control, you are dealing with an emotionally unhealthy people. Your whole relationship will be a cycle of anger, fear,
Oh yeah,
depression.
yeah, yeah. Shout out to Gone Postal. He said call the white men snow puppies. Shout out to Gone Postal 28. Snow bunnies is the white women and snow puppies are the white men. So when black women talk to white men, he say that they talking to snow puppies. Shout out to the people in the chat.
Anger, fear, depression. And these people are so miserable and so spiritually unwise. So miserable and so spiritually unwise that they think the way to escape their anger, fear, and depression is to go buy more stuff. They're so spiritually unwise, they think the way to escape anger, fear, and depression is to go buy more stuff.
He's absolutely correct. He's 100% correct. A lot of these people that are most toxic, a lot of times they use this stuff as a shield, even for themselves. It's not even for us, right? Like, I, I've seen a guy, a rapper, I don't know him personally, but I've seen him and he said that he had over 20 something cars. But he didn't have them as a collection. He had them in order to stun on other people, in order to say, you know what I'm saying? Who you talking to? I got 20 cars. And it's not a substitute for the thing that he not, or the substitute for the thing that's difficult. You know, one of the most the good. I don't even think I got that book in there. Can you check that for me? Gucci Mane's book. A lot of people, they don't know. I read everything. I read David Goggins. I read Robert Kiyosaki. I read everything. Napoleon Hill, Tony Robinson, Jordan Peterson. I've read Kevin Hart's biography. I've even read Tiffany Haddish's biography. If you don't see it in there, then it's down at the office. Yeah, I took it down to the office. I read Gucci Mane's book from cover to cover in like, a few hours or whatever like that. It wasn't a difficult read. And it's a really good book. And I would advise people to actually go and read Gucci Mane's book, okay? Gucci Mane's book is phenomenal. And I think that what Dr. Umar Johnson is talking about right now is an exemplification of that. Because Gucci Mane, in order to deal with his issues and his problems prior to him going to jail and having to sit down and then come to a better understanding of what he needed to be in order to be successful going forward, he was on a spiral to death, right? And so he would drink more lean, he would buy more cars. If somebody say, yo, Gucci, why you ain't doing this or doing that? He would say, but Nas ain't got this kind of car or something like that, right? And so if you read his book, honestly, Gucci Mane's book was really, really good. If you read his book, you would understand that what Dr. Umar Johnson is saying in that people usually use material things. Now, it doesn't mean that materials or cars or clothes or whatever it is that you buy, it doesn't mean that it's a bad thing, right? It doesn't mean that everybody has to go super minimalistic in order to justify their life, right? Because that's silly. But what he's saying is that a lot of people will cover up the problems, the trouble, the issue, the scars, the things that they really deal with, instead of deep down diving into your character, your spirituality, and becoming a better person. What they do is they just buy more stuff in order to cover up for it and then justify what it is that they do. It's similar to these conversations that we having about these athletes and tricking and stuff. And they say, well, such and such is worth $70 million. And it's like, still don't make him any less of a trick. So, okay, so you a lame with money, or you a trick with money. You have more ability to be able to do the things that's worse for you instead of becoming a better version of yourself, understanding that the money is a tool. It's just a tool. That's why when we talk about being bag chasers, bag chasing is becoming the best version of yourself, understanding that everything else comes with it. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and everything else will come with it. Everything else will be, it's going to follow it. It's going to follow suit.
Maybe I need a better car. Maybe I need a bigger house. Maybe I need a woman with a fatter ass. Maybe I need a man with a better body. Maybe I need a new car. That's because they are caught up in the illusion of European capitalism. And the illusion of European capitalism, says happiness is a function of what you own. European capitalism, the psychology of European capitalism says happiness is a function of what you own and what you do.
It's not. European capitalism is you have the option to do what you want to do when you want to do it. That's the difference. And he's conflating arguments, and this is where we disagree. It's because they're trying to weaponize having money as a bad thing. The reality is that without European capitalism, he doesn't have the ability, the financial stability, the options, the opportunity to even be able to build his school. Without European capitalism and without the technology that's then developed as a result of capitalism, because when he tells people to hit the PayPal, that's literally as a result of European capitalists then building a system that allows for them to be able to take fees off the ability for you to exchange money and send it back and forth, similar to Cash App. PayPal, the very system that he's using to fund his expenditures in building that school, came as a result of European capitalism. Money is just a tool. European capitalism is giving you the option to do what you want to do when you want to do it. I can buy 5 more cars right now and go cash out of them. I choose to only buy one because that's what it is that I want. That's what I need in order for me to be able to justify how it is that I want to live my life. It's having the option. Having resources with good character is having the option to do what you want to do when you want to do it. That's all it is. What you choose to do as a result of having the resources is then what separates you from good or bad. You can sleep with 5 women at one time. I choose to be a version of myself that I would want my daughter to marry.
According to the white power, this is the white man's pseudo-spirituality. The cave dwellers' pseudo-spirituality.
Halftime says PayPal was created by an African. Yeah, Elon Musk was one of the people that helped create PayPal, and Elon Musk was an African. I bet you didn't know that. I bet you didn't know that Elon Musk's roots, because I've read his autobiography also, is actually he's from Africa. He's a South African. PayPal was created by an African. Yeah, that's because Elon Musk was from Africa. He was one of the co-founders of PayPal. He was a part of PayPal Mafia, along with Peter Thiel and everybody else that wound up creating a platform. See, and this is why y'all can't finesse me. Y'all can't sit here and just throw shit at me. Oh no, PayPal was actually created by an African. Who you talking to, man? I've read the autobiography. I understand exactly how PayPal was created and by whom, where it originated. Come on, man. Hit me with something else.
Happiness is based on what you own and what you do. So when you come across Negroes who have been possessed by the demonic spirit of European capitalism, when you come across Negroes who have been possessed with the demon of European capitalism, you better run the other direction. You better run in the other direction. A Negro who is all about what I own and what I do is a miserable Negro. A miserable Negro. Oh, yes.
All while he's talking about reparations and building up the black community with the resources and money that he feels like the government owes. Okay.
First time I meet a sister, I'm looking at how important is the Louis bag.
Meanwhile, he still ain't gonna marry her though. He ain't gonna marry her. Let me continue. I want to hear the rest of what it is that he got to say.
How important are the Steve Madden high heels?
Not Steve Madden.
If you got to walk
I think that they want red bottoms right now. Not Steve Madden. They might be talking about the Christian Lubes, maybe the red bottoms, but maybe not the Steve. I mean, Steve Madden is cool, but I don't think that that's what they're saying that that's important right now. Yeah, Umar Johnson is a little out of touch. Don't worry about it.
out your house every day with a wig on your head, you are not at peace with God. If you got to walk out your house with a wig on your head every day, you are not at peace with your spirit. And if you are not at peace with yourself, you cannot be at peace with me. If we cannot be organically African together, if you have to be artificial every day of this relationship, if you have to be artificial every day of this relationship, if you have to be artificial every day of this relationship, this is a relationship I don't need.
Shout out to Dr. Umar Johnson. I think that that was an excellent breakdown. And although I don't agree with everything that he's saying, I agree with the overwhelming majority of how it is that he used it and the reference points for it, especially when it comes to gangster rappers and stuff like that. Again, shout out to Dr. Umar Johnson. I wanted to give him an opportunity to be able to give me some value on this Juneteenth. Otherwise, we would have had to be talking about Roland Martin or Jesse Jackson or some other dumb junk like that. So shout out to Dr. Umar Johnson before we get into more materialism and capitalism.